Your Excellencies, Ministers, representatives from Ministries of Energy, National Energy Regulatory Institutions, National PPP institutions, and Ministers of Finance, representatives from the African Union Commission and AUDA NEPAD, regional economic communities, regional and continental regulatory institutions, the private sector. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to Addis Ababa and to ECA for the high-level public-private dialogue on private sector investment in electricity and infrastructure development in Africa. Today, Africa is facing multiple crises owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ukraine war, climate change, and tightening in the financial markets. These crises have pushed up the prices of food and energy, worsened macroeconomic prospects, and have pushed African economies to the edge. They are putting more than 62 million people in the continent into poverty, risking additional 18 million to poverty conditions in 2022, and increasing overall vulnerability. These are some testing times, and we must face these challenges with urgency and fit-for-purpose strategy, while not losing sight on the required investments that guarantee our sustained development, economic and social transformation, and long-term prosperity. Guided by Agenda 2030 of the United Nations Sustainable Development and Agenda 2063 on the Africa we want, we must mobilize investments in critical areas, including building Africa's infrastructure. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, now is the time to plan for the future. By 2050, Africa will host 1/4 of the world population. We'll have about 950 million new people living in cities, and will house 7 out of the 10 fastest urbanizing countries. By 2025, Africa will have more than 500 million, mostly young people, in the labor market. One of the underlying critical conditions to meeting this challenge is putting in place the infrastructure that supports growth and prosperity. Investments in energy and infrastructure will help, therefore, leverage the opportunities for economic diversification through increased intra-African trade and regional economic integration, and provide economic opportunities for the growing African youth and its vibrant population. Additionally, these investments will help us to close the existing energy access gap. Currently, more than 600 million of our people do not have access to electricity. With 16% of the world population, we generate only 4% of the global energy. This has to change. Not only do we need to provide affordable and sustainable energy access and security to all Africans, this transition has to be just. To meet the net zero emissions climate goal limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees means we need significant changes in how energy is produced and consumed globally and in Africa. The African Common Position on Energy Access and Transition, spearheaded by the African Union Commission, offers a useful opportunity to pursue a responsible and inclusive energy transition that protects Africa's economic development aspirations as its transitions. Of course, to provide energy to all, we need to rapidly scale up investment in clean and renewable energy to seize much of the 8,000 gigawatts of added clean energy sources expected globally by 2030 under the SDG 7 roadmap. Such scaling up of investments needs enhanced energy partnership to leverage technology, finance, value chain development, green industrialization, and transfer of know-how to Africa. Partnerships, as reflected in the UN Energy Transition Recommendations, as related to technology transfer, sharing experiences, supporting policy reforms, building capacity, and mobilizing private sector investment, is crucial. The collaboration on energy transition among Pan-African institutions is a testament that partnerships are crucial for successful energy transition at the national, regional, and continental levels. Lastly, we must address the critical challenge of our policy and regulatory environment that often inhibits scaled investment and effective private sector participation. This is particularly essential considering the $120 billion per year we require in energy infrastructure development and the $1 trillion per year Africa requires to finance all SDGs. The fact that less than 20% of the investment in infrastructure development in Africa today comes from the private sector underscores this challenge and the need to address regulatory and policy barriers. At ECA, we believe on the importance of private-public partnerships and the scaling of private sector investment in infrastructure development. Our initiative on regulatory assessment in 16 African countries and the work with the African Union Commission on continental regulatory framework development to crowd in private investment is a testament to this commitment. We've also advanced work in 6 African countries on public-private partnership frameworks to finance national and regional infrastructure. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I expect that this high-level meeting will go further in assessing the opportunities in increasing private sector participation in meeting Africa's infrastructure development needs. We should take the lessons from this meeting to our countries. We at ECA and our partners at the Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa Foundation are ready to cooperate with you in addressing the regulatory challenges and in transitioning towards a conducive environment for greater investment through private and public-private partnership investments. I wish you fruitful deliberations.